Hello and welcome to the Orwell Astronomical Society podcast for January 2012. The new year will see the days slowly lengthening, but given clear skies there is plenty to view at night at this time of the year. Starting as always with the moon, full moon this month is on the 9th, with the new moon following 14 days later on the 23rd. Now the moon orbits the Earth in 28 days, so a lunar month is 2 or 3 days shorter than a calendar month. For this reason, cultures that adopt a lunar month will have 13 months in a year. Now onto the planets visible this month. The best time to see Mercury is around 7:30 in the morning at the start of the month, about an hour before sunrise. As always, be very careful if you use binoculars to look for it in case the sun catches you unawares. It will be very low down, about 5 degrees above the horizon in the southeast. Venus will be shining like a beacon in the evening towards the end of the month. It will be the very bright object visible just after sunset in the southwest, about 20 degrees above the horizon. Mars is starting to become a great sight this month, getting brighter as the month progresses. It does mean getting up at 3 a.m. to see it at its best, but look to the south towards the constellation of Leo. More of that later. Mars will be the bright red object around the back paws of Leo. If you have a telescope, make sure you have a look. You may see surface markings or even polar ice caps. You will not, however, see any moons. Mars has 2 very small moons, Phobos and Deimos, which are far too small to be seen by all but the largest telescopes. Jupiter is still a magnificent sight to look at in the evening, again an obvious bright object, reasonably high in the sky. Binoculars on a tripod will give great views of the 4 Galilean moons and possibly some stripes on the planet itself. If you have a reasonably high-power telescope and can see the stripes, or to give them their correct name, belts and zones, see if you can see elongated dark spots within these belts. These are called barges, and there has been a lot of barge activity over the last few months. Saturn is a morning sky object, best seen around 5 a.m. towards the end of the month. Look out for the bright yellow object in the south at around 28 degrees above the horizon. The rings will be a magnificent sight in even a small telescope or binoculars. The only meteor shower of note this month is the Quadrantids, peaking between 3 a.m. and dawn on the 4th of January. Expect a ZHR of 120. ZHR stands for zenithal hourly rate. This is simply a measure of the expected activity that you may be able to see if the radiant, or the apparent source of the shower, was directly overhead and there were perfect viewing conditions. But given there are very rarely perfect viewing conditions, don't expect 120 metres per hour. There are 2 comets to look out for this month, and they should be easily visible with binoculars, if you know where to look for them. Now this is a big if, even for seasoned astronomers. The best advice I would give is to use the internet or an astronomy magazine to identify when and where to look. The comets are known as Comet Garrod and Comet Levy. Expect to see a fuzzy blob and perhaps a tail. Now on to constellation watching. Orion is still magnificent in the east in the evening, moving to the south around midnight. So let's use Orion to find Leo, as this will be useful to find Mars later on. Look at Orion. Now turn 90 degrees to your left. Look for the backward question mark in the sky. This is the lion's head. It is also sometimes called the sickle. The bright star at the bottom of the sickle is called Regulus. To the left you will see a flat oblong of stars, with a fairly bright star, called Denebola, to the left as a point or a tail. This is the lion's body. Now imagine front and back paws, as the stars that make up these are really too faint to notice. And Mars will be seen in the early hours around the back paws. Now I hope that this podcast has given you some ideas of what to look at over this month. There is plenty more up there to see, and I recommend that you look on the internet, astronomy magazines, or in an astronomy book for a sky map to show you what else is out there and where to look for it. Listen out next month for February's highlights.